Good morning students, welcome back to our UGC net previous year question detailed explanation series. In this video we are going to talk about a question related to Jacques Derrida, that is his work Archive Fever, a Freudian Impression, which is related to archival method, biographical method, visual method and creative method. So Archive Fever, a Freudian, okay, Sigmund Freud, okay, it is related to Sigmund Freud, which he borrowed from Sigmund Freud. We will also see the Sigmund Freud's concept of death drive. Yes, we will see how he borrowed the term from here. This particular work, Archive Fever, a Freudian Impression, was published in 1995, and that completely changed how we think about archives and memory. So this work was actually a lecture. Derrida first delivered a lecture at Freud Museum in London in 1994, and the title of the lecture was Memory, the Question of Archive. The timing was very perfect in 1994 because this was the time during the beginning of digital revolution. The technology started coming, computers, emails started coming, and that changed everything. You see, we have Steve Jobs, we have Bill Gates, who were introducing new computers, Microsoft Windows, Apple, and at that particular time, all these things started, and Jacques Derrida came up with the concept. Jacques Derrida started doing lectures on the value of archive. All right, so archive means where we are going to store the information, and Derrida lectures transformed how we interpret archival theory and literary studies. So this question is particularly related to deconstruction, postmodernism, okay, and we can say the current technological development, which is particularly known as digital humanities. So Archive Fever is one of those essential concepts of 21st century as well as the 20th century. First, let's understand the definition of archive. What is an archive? So archive is a collection of historical records stored for long-term preservation either in physical or digital form, used for research, reference and preserving the past. Everyone knows what is archive. We have this particular word archive in every like on WhatsApp, also in WhatsApp messages, in Telegram or in Instagram messages, we have the word archive. Okay, so I hope the definition is clear. Like we see in the library. Okay, what is library? Library is also a sort of archive where we store the information, historical records, and for long term, yes, for long term preservation. And so that's a sort of archive. Library is also an example of archive. So before Derrida, people thought that archive as neutral storage places. Neutral storage places means archive is just to store the information, just to store the books, just to store the historical concepts. Okay, but you see, Derrida said no. He was one of those person saying that archives are never neutral. Archive is always political. Archive always involves power, and according to political gains, the archive can be preserved, the archive can be destroyed. Okay, so based on the government, the archive is framed. Okay, think of this way. When you are preparing for your competitive exams, your notes, okay, you do not study everything from your notes. Okay, what you do is you go to the Wikipedia and you start making the notes. You are very selective about the information. You don't write everything, every single thing from the Wikipedia in your notes. You select some information and you leave some information on the Wikipedia alone. The same way, archive is something where knowledge gets preserved, but only that knowledge which is selected by powerful people. Now we will discuss the same way. Archive is a storage, okay, preservation of storage, but this archive where the knowledge is stored is selected by the powerful people. And now we will discuss how Derrida forms his argument and evolve throughout his discussion of archive, and what is archive fever also we will discuss about it. So Derrida starts an analysis by looking at the word archive. Okay, from where the archive came? The word archive came from the Greek word archeon, which originally meant a house, a domicile, an address, the residence of the superior magistrates, the archons. So that is the place where the archons used to live. Archons for the people. Okay, from here the word archive came. Archons were the people who used to hold a position in government and political departments, and they were not just storing the documents. They had right to make and interpret the document the way the government want them to be. So archons used to decide what these documents mean. They decide that how could be the interpretation of that particular document. So Derrida says that the same practice is continued today, and archives are not just storage places, they are places of power. The people who control archives control how we understand the past, how we understand the history. The history that are taught to us today in the textbooks is not true at all. Like we see in India, we study history of great independence of India, how Mangal Pandey did that, how Mangal Pandey fought, how we killed them, how we put the Britishers outside, thrown away the Britishers out of India, how our ancestors were so much courageous. We don't know the truth. We don't know because archives are created, preserved, and then interpreted by those who are in power, and they will decide what should be the history, and they can also manipulate the history. Okay, so the Greek word archon, we have seen there is a Greek word archon, who were the people who used to preserve the knowledge. Then there is another Greek word named as archi, which has two meanings: commencement, that is beginning or starting point, and commandment, that is authority or rule. Now you see here, archi, the Greek word, has two meanings: commencement and commandment. Archive does not only tell the beginning of history. What is archive? Like you go to an archive and you look at the history from where the beginning point of the history starts. Okay, so we see Mangal Pandey's revolution is the beginning point of great independence. Okay, great independence struggle of Indians. So that is the archive, is the commencement as well as commandment. How the beginnings should be understood is also a part of archive. The Mangal Pandey's beginning, I don't know, we don't know. Like, yes, they were revolutionary. They were revolutionary people. I don't discourage their sacrifices, but I'm just trying to tell you with an example. So archive is the beginning as well as the commandment. Commandment means the control, how the history should be presented of Mangal Pandey before us. So now let's understand his another concept, archive fever. As you know, Derrida was a French thinker, so the same lecture, so the same piece of work was written in French or delivered in French language. So archive fever in French language has two meanings. Okay, archive fever also has two meanings. First is sickness, the next is to burn with passion. Now what is sickness? Sickness means people are so sick, so compulsive, so nostalgic. People have strong desire for the archive. People always feel that history is the place where they want to be. They do not like the present moment. They like historical moments. History is like homesickness for us. Okay, I always want to go back in my childhood. My childhood memories were so great. My school days, my college days. I never want to live my this life. I just want to go back in my previous childhood days, school days. I just love the history of my being a school boy, a college boy. I don't like this. Right now, I'm a teacher, and there are a lot of teachers, not a lot of, one or two teachers who are jealous of me, and they keep on throwing some bullshit. So sometimes I feel I should go back to the college. Okay, I have a photograph and I look at the photograph every day. So the photograph is preserving my memory of history, my memory of past. Okay, you see, archive fever is burning desire, burning passion to go to the past. It is the sickness, the homesickness. The history is the homesickness for me. So the first meaning of archive fever is sickness, and another one is the burning desire to go to the past. Okay, so that's the same thing. All right, so now this act of preserving the past is itself is an act of selecting some memories, whereas destroying other memories. For example, I have a photograph. I'm looking at a photograph of mine of a college young boy. Okay, At the same time, I'm destroying other moments like the boring lectures I used to attend, the assignments, the projects, the sleepless nights I used to have before examination. So, on one side, one single photograph, I am preserving the moment, but then I'm also destroying the other moments that were not good for me. So, I'm in the power. I'm selecting only the beautiful moments, and I'm destroying the moments that does not resonate with me. So that is what archive fever. Sigmund Freud gave a concept titled death drive, and death drive simply means that when we try to organize things, for example, you are organizing your room, unconsciously you will throw a lot of papers out of the room, a lot of material in the dustbin. That is unconscious. That is natural to human being. If you renovate your house, unconsciously you will give away a lot of some old furniture, some a lot of old chairs. Okay, that's unconscious thing. The same way, as I am looking at my photograph, I am unconsciously throwing away the bad moments of my college days but enjoying the good days. So that is the concept of Sigmund Freud, that unconsciously we do all these things. And from here, death drive, the Derrida took this concept and he said archivalith drive. So Derrida used the same term in relation to archive. So every time we try to preserve something in the form of archive, in the form of photograph, in the form of book, unconsciously we are also destroying a little bit of a lot of other things. So that is also known as archival violence. And in postmodernism, it is very crucial study, crucial topic that we should be thinking about every time. One of Derrida's most brilliant thoughts were that with technology, things will get more messy. He already predicted that a time will come when conversation will become more fragile. Okay, before email, before WhatsApp, before social media, if you want to send a message, what you do, you used to write a letter, you used to think, you go to the post office, you put the message in the postman's room, and then the postman will take your message to another. That is how the messages were written. We used to think a lot and we used to write. That's how the messages were written. But after email, WhatsApp, Instagram, you see, Derrida was predicting these things, that if the technology is developed, and now we see but Derrida predicted, it's becoming very true. We have WhatsApp, we do not think anything, and we just send a simple message to our friend without even thinking. If we have to abuse someone, we just write it on WhatsApp and we send them. So the conversation has now become more fragile. We have a lot of heartbreaks. Okay, like there can be a lot of disrespect on social media because it's very easy to send the messages right now in this moment. So the conversation has now become more fragile according to Derrida, and he predicted it way before the technological revolution. All right, so that's why Derrida is considered one of the most famous philosopher thinkers of his time. Okay, so Derrida also said, like, if Sigmund Freud is living in the 21st century, he might have access to telephones, tape recorders, emails, computers, fax machines. Sigmund Freud might have created a lot of mess in this 21st century because he was a great thinker. And Sigmund Freud used to create a lot of theories in that period of time. In 19th century, Sigmund Freud created a lot of confusion with his old theories, and Derrida is just enjoying. He's saying that Sigmund Freud was just a legend. And if he was alive at this present moment in the age of social media, he might have done a lot of things that the world could not imagine. So this is a part of digital humanities also. So they are asking the same questions from the old writers. The topics are new, but the writers are the old: Sigmund Freud, Jacques Derrida, Simon de Beauvoir, I.A. Richards. So make sure that you understand every single thing, and make sure you subscribe to Limitless Literature so that you remain updated on the new topics. Also, we are running our new batch for the December attempt. Don't forget to subscribe to UGC Net ongoing batch, where I will be personally guiding you how to qualify these competitive examinations. Now let's look at another question. Question number 14. Who has written the two pillars upon which a theory of criticism must rest? An account of value and an account of communication. Okay, so this question can easily be solved through the elimination technique. Ezra Pound could not be the answer because Ezra Pound was not a sort of critic, though he could have written some criticism work, but he was not a theorist. He was an imagist poet, imagism, where he used to write a lot of poems in simple, in short words. You can even read the poems by Ezra Pound. For example, we have In a Station of Metro. So this is the simple, you can say 10 words or 12 words in this particular poem. So that is just a 2-line poem. So that is what imagists used to do. They used to create a sort of image through the words, because they believe that one word, one image is itself speaks 1,000 words. So that is also something we have learned from the artist, from Pablo Picasso, that a picture speaks 1,000 words. So this used to create sort of pictures in these words. The meaning is very complex of these two sentences. So Ezra Pound was a sort of a poet. William Emerson could not be the answer because he has written the work 7 Types of Ambiguity in a poem. Then we have J.C. Ransom, although he has written the work New Criticism, but also he is not working towards the communication system, because J.C. Ransom is someone who said that criticism should be ontological, should be scientific. We have to use the elimination technique. So that is why I.A. Richards is the right answer to this particular question. I hope you understand this video. I will see you soon in the next video. That's it. Thank you.